Have you ever found yourself sitting in front of your computer with a huge list of things to do, and suddenly you realize that you've been watching videos about how beavers live in Canada for 20 minutes, or maybe you wake up determined to catch up on everything? You drink your coffee, open your laptop, adjust your Spotify playlist, take a quick look at your email, and before you know it, you're cleaning out your office drawers instead of starting that project you promised to finish weeks ago. This is not a lack of discipline, and it is certainly not laziness. The truth is that we don't procrastinate because we don't know what to do. We procrastinate because we don't want to feel what comes along with doing something. Anxiety, insecurity, fear of failure, sometimes even fear of succeeding and not knowing what to do next. Your brain, which evolved to keep you alive, interprets all of this as a threat. And what does it do? It redirects you to something safer. A video, a notification, a useless task that seems productive. This gives you relief. But this relief comes at a price: guilt, frustration, and the famous, "Why am I like this?" You are not the problem. The problem is the mental system you are using, and it is out of date. The good news, that can be changed. No magic formulas, no coaches shouting, just science, practice, and small changes. And if you stick with me until the end, I'll show you how to start this change today, without relying on motivation or willpower, just using what your own brain already does, but in your favor. If you've ever tried to stop procrastinating before, you know it's not as simple as deciding, "I'm going to do it now." Because what's going on in your head isn't just a conscious choice. It's an automatic cycle that catches you at the best moment. Imagine procrastination as one of those arcade games from the 80s that you can't stop playing. Every time you stray from the task, the game gives you a little reward. A funny video, a notification, an endless scroll on Instagram. It seems innocent, but every time you give in, your brain records that path as right. This sequence has 4 steps that you don't even notice. First comes the anxiety of the task. Then you take a little break, doing something easier. This brings you immediate relief. But then the guilt sets in, which makes the anxiety grow even more. And there you have it. The cycle starts again, and it's not just you. This trap is common, especially in a country where we are constantly connected, full of digital stimuli and distractions. American culture, with its emphasis on fast productivity and multitasking, only makes this worse. You try to do 1,000 things at once, but in the end you don't really get anything done. Plus there's that little voice inside you that says, "I should be better than this." This only reinforces your procrastinator identity, and you act to confirm that label, even if you don't mean to. But the good news is that, like any habit, this cycle can be broken. The brain changes when we change our strategy, not when we try to force ourselves to. The truth is that to start breaking out of this cycle, you don't need to make a revolution in your life. Just a simple movement that your brain is already programmed to accept. Have you ever heard of the 5-minute technique? It's simple. Instead of thinking about cleaning the whole house or studying the whole chapter, you say to yourself, "I'll just do 5 minutes of this." Why? Because 5 minutes seems too short to give you that fear that paralyzes you. And the most amazing thing is that almost always, when you start, it is easier to continue. It is like that old saying, start where you are. Think of running a marathon. The hardest part isn't running the 26 miles, but getting out there. Once you start, your body gets into the rhythm. It's exactly the same with any task you've been putting off. But there is a secret that accompanies this technique, the rule of clarity. When the task is vague, like study, organize, work, the brain gets lost. So be specific. Instead of study, say, "I will read the first 3 pages of Report X," or "I will answer 2 emails from Client Y." This clarity reduces anxiety and helps the brain focus on what really matters. And if you combine the 5 minutes with this clarity, the effect is multiplied. Each micro-victory activates your brain's reward system, giving you that feeling of real progress, no fake TikTok dopamine. For example, imagine someone in the office who starts by just organizing their desk for 5 minutes. Before they know it, they've already cleaned up their entire workspace and even created a list of priorities for the week, all because the first step was small and clear. We know that wanting to do something is only half the battle. The other half, and often the hardest, is creating an environment that doesn't sabotage you all the time. Because deep down, willpower is weak, and the environment is what matters. Think of an American convenience store. The candy and snack section is strategically located near the checkout. You go to pay for what you need, and then, out of nowhere, your arm reaches for the chocolate. This is decision architecture, or as experts call it, behavioral design, creating the easiest path for the choices we make. If the environment in the market is designed to sell, why would it be any different? In your home or office, to win this battle, you need to change the easy path your brain sees. If your phone sits on your desk with notifications popping up, it's a distraction magnet. If your laptop opens straight to Instagram, the infinite scroll button is ready to pull you away from your focus. Try creating a productivity zone, a space where you're only invited to work. This could be a clean desk with only the essentials, a pair of headphones with white noise, or an instrumental playlist that helps you keep your head on straight. Remember the study pods in American libraries? Those quiet, well-lit cubicles. That helps students get into focus mode. You can create your own mini study pod at home by adapting whatever you have available. And don't underestimate the power of a timer. Use Pomodoro, a kitchen clock or your cell phone alarm to divide your time into blocks. That way your brain knows there's a time for a break and a time for delivery. Ultimately, you are not fighting against your own will, but working with your environment to make the choice easier, more natural. Ultimately, stopping procrastination isn't just about what you do. It's about who you become. James Clear, author of the book Atomic Habits, says that every action you take is a vote for the person you want to be, and it doesn't matter if it's just 5 minutes reading a chapter or answering that pending email. Every small choice builds your identity. When you change the way you see yourself, from someone who puts it off until later to someone who delivers on promises even if it's slow, everything changes with it. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking that productivity is something you need to pull off with willpower, as if it were a muscle that needs to be lifted every day. But the truth is that willpower eventually ends. What really lasts is your identity. So instead of fighting procrastination, start seeing yourself as someone who honors their commitments, even if it's one step at a time. Imagine looking back a year from now and remembering today as the day you turned the tide. Not because of a moment of heroic willpower, but because you made a simple, small choice. Now it's your turn. Pick a task that takes less than 5 minutes and do it. Let that action be the first vote on the new version of yourself. And if you want to continue receiving practical tips that really work, without any fuss, stay here, because the change you want is just one small step away, and that step starts now.